What's up, Homestead Homies? We're back on the rockers, and we're here today to talk about soaking your beans, nuts, seeds, grains.
It's a century-old or age-old process.
That's right. Guys, so today we're going to talk about, a lot of times people can't eat certain foods, and they just think they just can't eat them. But
yeah, because you get really stomach problems, digestive problems, you're bloating, you have gas, you have a lot of problems, you can't tolerate these, and especially with nuts and things like that. You find beans. So there's, I know, what are you going to say?
Well, it doesn't matter now. Come on, go on, girl. She's all excited.
No, I thought you were going to do that beans, magical
Oh my
fruit.
gosh, that's all I get. I got to make the funny joke.
Yeah,
like
I thought
that.
you were going to do that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but that's all I was saying was that you go in, you're like, oh, I'm gassy, I'm bloated, and blah blah blah, and the doctor says, well, don't eat beans, or don't eat seeds, or don't eat this. But really, the problem is not that you're eating them. The problem is how you eat them or prepare them to eat them.
Yeah, because a long time ago, I mean, we're in this industrial revolution where...
That was my line.
You're so funny. Okay.
All right. This is an age-old process.
It is.
Right.
It's been going on forever, and people used to soak their,
beans,
grains,
seeds, nuts, grains.
Yeah, they used to soak all of them all the time, and they would ferment everything. And then with all the stuff with, processed foods and all that, and hurry, get it done quickly, we kind of lost touch with that. And you guys just got...
cuckooed.
Right.
All right, so we lost touch with it, right.
Right, and so now, and people don't do it. I mean, I talked to somebody the other day.
You did?
Yeah, and she was an older lady, and she doesn't even rinse her rice. And I know, a lot of you guys know you should rinse your rice.
A lot of you might
there's
not.
There's a lot of heavy metals in it,
yeah,
too, just to make sure you rinse your rice.
And now with that chlorine water.
No. So I'm going to go over some things that we should be doing to help you tolerate these different types of foods that you
Not only to tolerate them, pardon the interruption, but to get the most benefit out of the food. You guys are consuming foods and only getting like 5 or 10% of the nutritional value.
We're not experts on how much, but
yes,
when it comes to that.
This is not scientifically proven. This is just a general statement.
But by soaking these things, it can up your nutritional value like by tenfold.
This is not a scientific...
You're going to get a lot
more.
You
get a lot more.
What happens is, let me get more technical.
Oh.
When you are consuming these things, like the nuts and the seeds and the grains and the beans, okay?
Hold on.
He has to play for me while I'm singing.
We got the nuts and the seeds and the beans and the grains, so you don't get stains. You gotta put them in your water and soak them overnight.
And I'm going to talk about that. What happens with seeds, okay, when we get our seeds, they are protected. They have a coating over them to help them to not germinate until the time is right. Till you have the moisture, the water to help them start to sprout. Then you have the warmth of the sun to help them kind of go. And that coating on it protects them from bugs or anything else that is going to mess with them. So what happens is we're getting these things and we're eating them. And so it goes down into your system, and especially, let me talk about beans here. Black beans, these big beans like kidney beans, black beans, navy beans. They have something called...
Bush beans?
No, not a bush bean. But oligosaccharides. And what it does is... You like it when I say those fancy words. And that's what happens to people when they get that horrible gassy feeling, when you say you can't eat beans. Because I never touch beans. I could not... it really messed with me a lot. And until over the years I started, learning about all these things and then implementing them. And it makes a huge, huge difference. Now we do eat beans because before I would not mess with them because it would just really mess your stomach up. But what happens is oligosaccharides that are in these bigger beans, what happens is you eat them, okay? It gets into your lower intestines and then it starts to ferment in there. And then you have bacteria and everything in your bowels, and then bad things start to happen.
Toxic. Yeah.
Like, right, it starts, eroding down in your intestines, and then it can cause autoimmune issues, causes, inflammation in the body over time. So when you start eating these foods over and over, you're eating beans all the time, and you're not soaking them and doing these things that I'm going to tell you can do to them, your oats, your grains, your seeds, over time, that's going to cause a problem. Not just like one time, but over time. And the thing that these seeds have on them is they have these things called anti-nutrients.
Anti-nutrients?
And what does anti mean?
That means no.
Well, yeah, they go against, and what they do is they're going to compete, and they're not going to let you be able to absorb vitamins that are very crucial, like calcium and magnesium, and your zinc, and your iron, and your copper, and those huge minerals that so many people this day and age are really having mineral deficiencies with. And because of having these mineral deficiencies, it's causing a lot of problems.
And if I may.
Yes.
This also all started in the Industrial Revolution when they started mechanicalizing the food system, mechanicalizing, making it mass produced and canned, that everyone got away from these beneficial, and that's why you see disease and sickness on the rise all the time from the Industrial Revolution.
So a lot of it has to do with the food preparation.
Right.
So when you soak these things, what's going to happen is we want to get rid of, the different, like the phytic acid I'm going to talk about. That is the big one that protects the seeds, the nuts, the grains, and the beans from germinating. So if you can get rid of that, then you're more able to absorb it, and that's where you're going to get the tenfold of the nutrients in the body, and it's better digested,
yeah.
And your body can use it, and it's not going to be an anti-nutrient and suck and pull your calcium away from you, and it's going to pull the magnesium away from you, and you're not able to absorb it. So just by doing these certain things, I mean, when I eat my food, I want to get as most of the benefit out of it as I can.
It's a lot of work to grow that stuff.
Yeah, all of us are hearing, in the news, eat nuts, eat seeds, eat,
yeah,
the beans. All these things are good for you, but then people are eating them. Right, and this is huge. Okay. And what you guys need to do is, there's like 3 things that you should really look at when you're doing these. Is good planning. And if you can start planning these, because people are like, I don't want to soak my, seeds or my rice or my beans or whatever, for this many hours. I just don't have time. Just start planning because your health is huge. Who wants to go to the doctor all the time? Who wants to be sick all the time?
What is it called?
You know what I mean.
I never heard of it.
But who wants to be sick? We want to live our life and be healthy and enjoy the food and eat it and be able to tolerate our foods. So.
What is this? We're in September?
Yes.
Look back through all of our videos this year that you've seen. Go back to the very first one, even for almost a year ago, and try to find the videos where we are sickly in our videos.
Okay. Let's see who could do that.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to need something called an acid medium or an activator. So what it's going to do is you're going to put this, and I know a lot of you guys already may soak your beans, but I'm going to give you the next step, because I used to soak my beans and I still would get bloated and all that in water. Right. You make sure you use a purified water. You need to make sure you plan ahead. Know that, if you're going to do, have something with beans in it, or you're going to have something with, wheat berries or whatever you're going to do. Just make sure you're planning ahead. You need to make sure that you're using good purified water, and then, when you put it in your bowls, make sure you're using glass or ceramic. Don't use, any metallic bowls or anything. So what you're going to do is you're going to either choose, and these are my 3 go-tos when it comes to my activators.
Number 1.
Lemon juice is an activator, and number 2 would be your ACV or your apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. Okay? Those are 2 of them that I'm always going to use when I'm doing my grains, when I'm doing my, what is it? Let me think. Any of my grains, like rices or like quinoa or oatmeal or beans, things like that. And beans not a grain, but like legumes. So if I had split peas or anything like that. The only time I'm going to generally use a salt, and that's going to be my third acid medium.
What kind of salt?
Unrefined sea salt, or unrefined salt. This is Redmond sea salt. You could do pink Himalayan sea salt. You could use Celtic salt, sea salt.
Real
any
salt.
of those unrefined salts. Don't
Right.
get a refined salt. You want
Right.
unrefined salt. So that's what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to use the salt with my seeds and my nuts. So salt is with seeds and nuts.
Oh.
And everything
then the
else, your
lemon
beans
juice and
and
the
your
ACV
grains,
is beans
I'm
and
going to
grains.
use with, all the other ones.
Right.
And that's just going to help break down the phytic acid that is coating it and the other things that are causing the anti-nutrients to help.
Now, how long do you soak them?
Okay, everything's going to be, it can get, people, if you get online and you look, it's going to say, well, this is for, 12 to 18 hours, this is 18 to 24 hours. You know what, guys? You have to live your life and do the best you can. And if you've never been never been soaking, then start. And if you don't get that exact time, don't freak out about it, because what I'll do is the night before with my beans, like I'm making a meal with black beans. So I soak my beans, I put them in last night about 6 o'clock.
Do we have company coming over?
No, we're going to have them going to make this really
That's
good.
fine. I just,
Yeah.
little black beans and company.
Yeah, a lot of times I do taco night when people come over too, and we have black beans. But now I'm going to make a new recipe. So, black beans, and I soak them, and I put it, with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in there, and then let it soak. I started early in the evening, and then, it's going to get the water gets black. So I'm going to rinse it, and and then I let it soak overnight, and then they're still soaking, and it's been, how
You just
long?
got cuckooed. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah. So they've been going maybe about 18 hours. But if you can only go 12 hours overnight, that'll work. But usually with your bigger beans, it's good to go
18
longer.
hours.
Yeah, that was 18 hours.
Yeah.
They've been going a while. I've just been letting them sit, and I just keep rinsing them out. But if you just want to soak them overnight, I know people soak them for a few hours, but if that's all the time you have, make sure you're putting that acid medium in there, which is either the lemon juice or your apple cider vinegar to help break it down.
Is it?
And it's very beneficial. You want to stimulate the seed sprouting.
Right.
So start with warm water.
Oh.
So when you are letting your grains and your seeds and your beans soak, make sure you use a warm water to help enhance that.
It's like it's warm, yeah.
Right.
Like
I mean,
the sun.
just like the sun is on
Right.
it. Right. And all those things are very helpful. So, do the best that you can with the time that you have. I mean, you can get it to an exact science where you're getting the most
The more
beneficial
practice,
nutrient
yeah.
load, but sometimes I only have a few hours too, and I would really like to eat this. So, I'm going to do it. And sometimes I can tell a difference.
Yeah.
But if I let mine set overnight, generally, let my beans especially soak overnight, and then I let them soak in the apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, and then I rinse them a couple times. It's great.
You said a tablespoon of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
Does it depend on how much beans you're doing?
Yeah,
or-
if you have more, just put more. I mean, don't put a whole big cup in there, but it just needs a little. A
Okay.
teaspoon to a tablespoon, depending how big of a container that
Right.
you're using. I just put in there, and that works great. Now, you can do this also with, and we eat a lot of oatmeal, and I use oats for a lot. So you
Right.
can soak your oats too the same way, and then cook it the next day if you want to cook it. I know a lot of people, you can soak make it and put it in like a thermos the night before and just let it soak, and you can rinse it out. It just depends, like I say, on the time that you have. Try to get it overnight at least. At least try to get 8 hours of soaking
Yeah.
the grains. You can do the same thing. Now the one grain here, quinoa, if you're soaking that, it doesn't take as much time. That's like 5 or 6 hours. So if you just do that during the day, if you're going to have it for dinner or whatever, and then cook it, that's all it really takes for the quinoa. The other one now is your nuts, like pecans and walnuts and almonds. Okay?
Now, is this just for cooking with them, or is it
No,
just
this is
for
for
eating
you
them,
to
period?
eat them. This is for you to eat them. So soaking your nuts, there's a lot of people who cannot tolerate eating nuts at all, and it's because of the phytates and the anti-nutrients, that are around it. So soaking them, putting them in water with some salt, unrefined salt, and letting them sit, most of the day, and then you can go ahead and then dry them off. Nuts are good for you. If you could get them to go for a full 24 hours, that would be great. But, if you can, it's still going to be better than nothing. So let them soak in good water, purified water.
Warm water?
With salt. Nuts you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, nuts can be more, cooler water. So go ahead and then when they're done, then just let them set out, dry them off, and then put them in a container, and then let them go in the refrigerator.
So that kind of comes along with homesteading, right? You're always preparing. So all you're doing now is you're instead of being on the spot with your cooking and getting ready, you're doing this stuff a day in advance. You're preparing for the next day.
Yeah, because with nuts, you eat a lot of nuts, so you can prepare enough that maybe they'll last you for a while. Just keep them in the refrigerator because they do. Your nuts will last longer in the refrigerator.
So is that a handful of nuts pretty much a day people should have, or what?
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuts are great because the coating, like on almonds. And it's hard for people to break it down and chew because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to eat my nuts and seeds and all that because they're so good for me. But if you could do this step, that would be great.
It would really soften up, especially an almond, because you pop those in your mouth, you could lose a tooth.
Well, a lot of times that's why people get them roasted and salted and all that. And the thing is if you want the most nutrition, you don't want to heat them up that high like roasting. So here's the next step if you are interested. Once you soak your nuts that you've chosen, like the almonds, then on very low heat, you can put them in the oven and you can roast them very low, or dehydrating would be the best.
You mean with an all-American Sun oven?
That would be sweet, yes, yes. And then you can roast them like all day long.
Right.
And then they would cook. But dehydrating is the best way to keep the nutritional value on these.
And we did a video about like canning versus fermenting. The main objective is if you're growing your own food and you're putting all this energy and work into doing it, you want the food to, in return, give you the most beneficial, attributes that it can by treating it properly on the way for the preparation to the table, and then that way you're going to get the most out of your food. So it's a good symbiotic
You are coming up with some fancy words.
That's it, man. You guys, if you go
Let me
through
talk
all that
about
trouble.
one more thing too.
All right,
I don't want to forget.
All right.
Now, you guys that are baking with flour, and I know people are like, there's no way I could ever do this. But look at the amount of people that have gluten intolerances because of a lot of the processed food. Make sure that you're using unbleached, unbromated flour.
Right.
Okay, that should be huge. No bleached flour. Unbleached, you want an unbromated flour. Okay. With your flour, so let's say when it comes to gluten intolerances, it runs the gamut from down here, it could be very mild to gas and bloating, to here to celiac disease, okay, where it's just very severe. It runs its gamut. So what you can do for a lot of you guys that maybe have trouble digesting, maybe you're not at that extreme level, but you're okay with breads, or maybe you just just really just kind of bothers you a little bit when you eat them. If you soak your flour before you use the baking, it can help a lot for you to absorb it better. So the powdery flour, go ahead and soak it with your apple cider vinegar, and then just kind of rinse it if you
Cold
can.
water?
Warm water. You can do warm water.
Okay.
Yeah, and then maybe rinse it through and see if that helps your gluten issues that you're having. I'm not recommending if you have severe gluten problems, don't start eating it.
You know your bodies, guys. All of our information is pretty general. We just want you guys to get in the direction of investigating and performing the necessary tasks to get the most out of your food.
But something like that could really help.
Right.
So I'm just saying everyone is different. You have to listen to your body and you have to learn and find out what things, but I know for us, with beans, I would soak them all day and nothing would help. But then when I started attaching the, acid medium, like the lemon juice or the apple cider vinegar, it made a huge difference. And it just makes you feel better. Even with the oatmeal a lot, you eat oatmeal, it just really bloats you and fills you up. It's much easier to digest by letting them soak. So I'm just trying to give you guys these things just to start implementing to see how it makes you feel, because day in and day out, especially with children, they're eating a lot of these foods over and over again, and then, they're having gas problems or digestion problems too, because it's so much more with young children. Yeah. Just by implementing these little things into your life daily, it just makes a huge difference in your overall health and how you assimilate and digest and metabolize all the vitamins in your body, and we just want you guys to be healthy.
All right, and now, don't forget, We have the Strum Stick giveaways coming up on the 14th of this month. We're going to give it away on the 15th. Anywhere that you see the Strum Stick in our videos, you got to say, is that a Strum Stick, in the comments below to get registered. Don't forget, we're on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us there. We do try to post daily. Most of the time we do, and that just gives you a little bit more inside look of what's going on around the homestead. And also, don't forget to share these videos. We give you guys a lot of information. We really try to have a well-rounded channel: health, nutrition, homesteading, off-grid, handyman. I mean, all this kind of stuff. Everyone is really excited about the outdoor kitchen build.
Especially me.
We have a lot more videos coming up on that. Then we're going to do the greenhouse. I mean, so we're doing these videos, but it really helps us if you guys spread the love. Just get them out to your friends. Share them with all your social media. Tell your people that you've come into contact with. If you want us to send you business cards so you can just hand them out, let us know. We just want to get the word out there because we feel like we're bringing this information and we should have a lot of ears to bring it to, because this stuff can really help a lot of people. So this is Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I'm Doug.
And I'm Stacy. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter too.
That's right. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
See ya.